The following program is sponsored by CBN.
Coming up, school is out for the summer, and students aren't the only things leaving the campus.
Somebody walked by, they saw it, they filed a complaint.
Hear how colleges are working to suppress free speech.
Students don't need a permit to speak on campus.
And then, America's Pharmacist Suzy Cohen is back. The drug mugger sensation reveals the so-called beauty treatments that are just wastes of money and what we really need to do to look and feel younger. On today's 700 Club.
Welcome, folks. So glad to have you with us. This is a stat you might find interesting. There are about 6.7 million jobs in America unfilled. 6.7 jobs looking for people. In cybersecurity, there's several 100,000 jobs. In nursing, there's over 1 million jobs. And you can go down the list. And, where are we going to get the people? Well, it looks like the president may have to ease up on some of this immigration stuff because we're not creating enough people, and the American businesses are hurting because they can't get employees. Now, ain't that a shame?
It's amazing. There's certain sectors that you can always find work.
Yeah.
You know, a nurse, a teacher, you said cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Isn't that, pretty cool?
Well, for somebody like Regent, we're just thrilled that we can turn out graduates who are immediately hired. You know, our psych department, we place every single graduate, and we've got people coming out with doctors of psychology, and they're getting placed immediately as soon as they graduate. And that's wonderful. I mean, for young people to think that there's a future ahead for them, but as far as the economy goes, there are a lot of businesses that say, Mr. President, please ease up a little bit. We've got to hire some people. We've got to get some workers. And I'm not just talking about people picking vegetables. I'm talking about people in every level all up the line. Well, it's kind of nice. Well, terrorists are not the only evil. They can be very creative. The Palestinians in Gaza have moved from firing rockets at Israel to much lower tech weapons. This is what the Japanese used to do during World War II when they sent incendiary balloons across the Pacific to start fires in the Northwest. I was there in those days fighting fires, and now in Gaza they're sending incendiary devices into Israel to burn up their crops. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable and evil. Those weapons bypass the Iron Dome defense system, starting fires across southern Israel. And the Israeli military has not come up with a solution. Chris Mitchell brings us the story from the Israel-Gaza border.
It can't get much more low-tech than this. Yet the flying fire kites or balloons have caused extensive damage to southern Israeli crops and nature reserves.
As you see, it's burned from a kite that the Palestinians sent us as a present 3 weeks ago.
Ofer Lieberman is the agriculture manager at Kibbutz Niram, less than a mile from the Gaza border. In the last 6 weeks, his kibbutz has lost 250 acres of wheat, 500 acres of cow pasture, and 25 acres of trees that were older than the state of Israel.
We stand here with tractors and equipment. When we see the fire, we just run with the tractors and try to stop it as quickly as we can.
It's part of the Great March of Return, where tens of thousands of Palestinians repeatedly attack the border fence with Israel. Palestinians posted this video with triumphant music on Facebook showing border infiltrations. Some have been killed or captured trying to do so. Israel is working on solutions to combat this latest weapon, and some are calling for targeted assassinations for those who are sending the kites. But Israeli Construction and Housing Minister Yoav Gallant says the Palestinians are desperate.
The kites and the civilian so-called marches towards defense are signs of frustration because all the operational military ways were almost blocked by Israel. The sea is closed, the land is closed. It's very difficult to hit Israel by rockets and missiles because of Iron Dome. We are in a project that will block eventually the tunnels.
Despite the trouble, Lieberman says he still has friends in Gaza.
I speak with them about once a week. My friends say that a lot of people in Gaza want the Israeli get inside to throw out the Hamas.
Lieberman says his kibbutz is growing, and he's optimistic for the future.
Here it's heaven, 23 hours a day. 1 hour it's hell. But normally this place it's heaven. I hope it will be like this 24 hours a day. And I hope that, we will live in peace.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Thanks, Chris. Israel had taken over Gaza. That whole territory belonged to them. They were in charge of it. And Ariel Sharon made the move, well, I'm going to give that up, and I'm going to make a peace move toward the Palestinians to show them that we really care, and Gaza is not really something that we want particularly, so we'll give it up. And Israel withdrew, and the settlers there were forced to leave their homes. Jews were packed up and moved out of Gaza in that area. And this is the result of there was a vacuum. And who came into the vacuum? Not the good guys, but Hamas. And so Gaza is now under the control of Hamas. And what's Israel going to do? Well, what they're really going to have to do is repossess Gaza. They're going to have to do it. They should never have given it up to begin with. And I had enormous criticism in those days because I was misquoted, which is, something par for the course. But I was misquoted talking about Sharon and what he'd done, but it was not a smart move. And they're going to have to, it seems like Israel is going to have to retake Gaza. There's just no question about it. And that means there'll be a clash with Hamas, but they've got to do it. They really do. And if they don't, they'll continue to have these incursions, these demonstrations. But imagine fire bombs to burn up their crops. Isn't that something?
It doesn't get much more evil than that. Because
well, as I say, when I was just a kid, I was working in the Forest Service up in the Pacific Northwest, and the Japanese were sending over these balloons. They really were the incendiary balloons, and they'd drop down in the forest, and they'd start forest fires. So, I mean, this is nothing new. I mean, we're talking about 60, 70 years ago. And
I guess, certainly there are more evil things, chemical warfare and all those things.
You better believe
but it just shows how deep the hatred goes.
Yeah.
They want to take the food away from, their enemies' children and people, so.
Well, we now have new revelations about how the Obama administration was willing to go to get a nuclear deal with Iran. Ephraim Graham has more on our top story from the CBN newsroom.
Pat, the Obama administration tried to help Iran get around sanctions by giving the Islamic regime access to the U.S. financial system. The Associated Press reports on an investigation by Senate Republicans, and it says the U.S. Treasury issued a license giving Iran the ability to convert $5.7 billion held in a bank in Oman. The license was not illegal, and in the end, the effort did not succeed. Still, the Obama administration denied to Congress that it was considering giving Iran access to the U.S. financial system. Social Security will be forced to dip into its trust fund for the first time in 36 years. The program's costs will exceed its income this year. That hasn't happened since 1982. It's also 3 years earlier than expected. Experts say the nearly $3 trillion trust fund will run out in 2034 unless Congress takes action to fix it. Medicare is also in dire straits. One report says its hospital insurance fund will be empty in 2026. Costs are higher for both programs because more Americans are retiring and they are living longer. Pat?
I've warned about this years and years ago that the Social Security was, well, what they've been doing, there was supposed to be a trust fund. That is a joke. You remember the debate about a so-called lockbox? You remember that there was going to be a lock? There's no lockbox. They have taken all of the money dedicated for Social Security they have used it to pay current bills. They have stolen that money, and what they've done is put a U.S. IOU into the, quote, lockbox. And this so-called fund is nothing but a bunch of IOUs from the federal government. There's no cash in the system because Congress has systematically raided the money that the people have been taxed to pay for Social Security, and they've done it year after year after year after year. And they say we've got a, quote, reserve fund. There's no reserve fund. It's an IOU based up by government debt. And now they're going to have to raise more taxes in order to pay the money that they've stolen from the Social Security fund. And we don't have enough money to pay those bills. And so they'll, quote, raid it, which means they'll take those government securities and put them on the market and sell them. And hopefully people will buy them rather than raise taxes. But that's what they're hoping for. They talk about the fund. But right now, Social Security, the problem is that the American people are getting older. They're retiring much longer, and they're draining the system. It's ridiculous to have a system which pays people at age 65, because that's what it used to be during Franklin Roosevelt. People died earlier. Now, because of life-saving medicine, people are staying alive a lot longer. And you're looking at one right now who's beating the odds. But this is the fastest growing segment of our population, people over 80. And so they've got to, Congress has got to step up to the plate, and they have to raise the age when they start paying off Social Security. It's absolutely crucial.
Yeah, we're hearing more and more people living healthy lives, even up to 90 and 100.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you know, with medicine the way it is, I mean, a lot of diseases that kill people have been halted in their tracks. We've got a tremendous medical system, but it's keeping a lot of folks like me in the game a whole lot longer. All right.
Thank God for that.
Well, I guess we can thank God for it. But nevertheless, that means that you can't pay Social Security at age 65 or so. We've got to move that age up to maybe 70, 75. That may help a little bit, but somebody's got to move on it. And they don't have the political will to make it happen. All right, Ephraim.
The Supreme Court sent a strong message this week warning local governments not to demean people of faith for their beliefs. While the justices didn't broadly answer religious liberty questions, that could happen very soon. As Heather Sells reports, until then, more challenges lay ahead for Christian businesses when it comes to same-sex weddings.
Colorado baker Jack Phillips and many people of faith are celebrating this week's Supreme Court win. The Trump administration also appreciated the ruling.
The Supreme Court rightly concluded that the Colorado Civil Rights Commission failed to show tolerance and respect for his religious beliefs.
You had a state civil rights commission telling Jack Phillips that your views are detestable.
The ruling could also dramatically affect Washington florist Baronelle Stutzman. The Supreme Court will decide this week whether to hear her case. Her attorneys believe they have a stronger argument since the Washington Attorney General has repeatedly demeaned her faith.
Legal experts say Tuesday's decision might even open the door to overturning local ordinances that outlaw sexual orientation discrimination if it can be shown that they were passed as a result of hostility towards people of faith.
In the meantime, Christian wedding vendors should carefully follow the law, especially in cities or states that outlaw sexual orientation discrimination.
You are certainly at risk. You are at risk of a lawsuit that could go on for years. You're at risk of losing your business.
Regent law professor Brad Jacobs also advises these vendors to follow Phillips' example. Make it known that they serve gay customers, but won't create something for a gay wedding.
They should make it clear that they will sell all sorts of products to gay people.
Even following that course, there are still many legal landmines to dodge until the Supreme Court provides a clear answer. Heather Sells, CBN News.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, we've told you that this is a problem. And the fact that we're going to be fighting this battle over and over and over again, somebody's got to have the courage to make some special laws. And what's got to happen, it looks like to me, is we've got to have another Republican appointed judge on the Supreme Court. President Trump has got a list from the Federalist Society, and right now the Senate is poised to approve the nomination of his appointees. Mitch McConnell, by the way, has told the Senate, your autumn recess is over. You're going to have to stay and work. We've got to get the president's agenda passed, and we've also got to, confirm these nominations. There are many, many government nominations who haven't yet not been confirmed, and there are judges that need to be confirmed. And Mitch McConnell has told the Senate, you're going to work until you get the job done. Good for you, Mitch. Ephraim, what do you got?
Pat, another earthquake rocked the already erupting Kilauea volcano in Hawaii, sending ash a mile into the air. It's been more than a month since the volcano began erupting on the Big Island. Officials say hundreds of vacation homes were destroyed over the weekend in the most destructive display yet. The magnitude 5.5 quake was just the latest in a series of quakes fueling the eruption. No injuries were reported. And in Guatemala, another deadly eruption from the volcano of the fire has led to massive evacuations. At least 75 people are dead and nearly 200 missing since the volcano first erupted Sunday. New flows of ash, gas, and rock forced more evacuations and sent waves of panic through nearby towns. CBN's Operation Blessing is at Ground Zero in El Rodeo, where approximately 500 rescue workers are looking for survivors. Teams are serving enough food to feed workers lunch and providing hygiene kits as well as spiritual comfort to more than 2,000 people in shelters. Operation Blessing is also giving medical support for 1,000 patients and delivering face masks to rescuers and firefighters. Operation Blessing on the ground there. Pat?
There's some really good people down in Guatemala. I've been down there. I was there when Rios Montt took over as president, and I've got to know him and his daughter and others. The tremendous people in Guatemala, and this suffering, we need to do everything we can to assist. But these earthquakes have been just horrendous. And are they part of that ring of fire? The answer is yes, all the way up around the Pacific. So what is in jeopardy in the United States? Well, the Pacific Northwest is very much in jeopardy of a tsunami. So that's something to keep in mind. But right now, we need to help Guatemala. Operation Blessing is down there on the scene. We're feeding people. We've got rescue workers. We've got hygiene kits. We've got food and water. We've got other things that people desperately need. Yes.
I talked to a missionary from Guatemala yesterday by phone who was on the ground there, Pat, and he said that he talked to one lady who lost her entire family, about 40 members, because they live all together in these villages. And another man who had lost like 5 members, he said that the death toll is being severely underreported because so many people are missing. Yeah. And he sent me photographs of just burned babies from the lava, and you just can't imagine. I mean, we're only seeing just a tiny little bit right now because it's pretty remote where they are. But as you were saying, I mean, the suffering is unimaginable for these people. Well,
that's the story. And ladies and gentlemen, let's reach out to help them. Operation Blessing, it's 1-800-700-7000. Or you can say Disaster Relief Fund, Operations Blessings, International Disaster Relief Fund. And you can specify as your gifts to Guatemala. Well, Ephraim has a story that is unbelievable. This is unbelievable, and it's inspiring. Ephraim, tell us about it.
Indeed it is. A 9-year-old girl is inspiring people across the country with her impressive handwriting skills. Anaya Ellick recently won first place in a national penmanship contest. As Charlene Aaron shows us, though, what makes her so amazing is she has no hands.
It's 12, right? Anaya Ellick doesn't let anything stop her from doing the things she enjoys.
I just like writing in cursive. And if I'm sad and I draw, it makes me feel happy.
Born without hands, the 3rd grader from Greenbrier Christian Academy uses her forearms to write. At a year old, her grandmother taught her to steady the pencil between her 2 wrists. Her mother says the family decided against the use of prostheses.
And they actually started to hinder her rather than help her. She didn't want them anymore. She had already started learning how to do different things without them. She learned to write and draw without them.
In a time with mainly computer keyboards and no emphasis on writing or spelling, teachers at the school say teaching students cursive writing is a vital part of their development.
Research has shown that the part of the brain that does writing is closely related to children learning to read and to spell. In doing cursive writing, they learn to look at the word as a whole. And so that is very important for their fluidity in reading and for them to be able to write words as a whole.
School officials recently entered Anaya in a national cursive writing competition. Anaya's work went under a category for students with cognitive delays, intellectual, physical, or developmental disabilities, which was judged by a team of occupational therapists. Facing stiff competition and strict guidelines, the little girl with no hands came out on top. Teachers and contest organizers are absolutely amazed at the quality of Anaya's work.
The people that judge the contest do it on the keys of legibility, which is the size, the shape, the slant, and the spacing of the letters, so they don't all scrunch in together. And when you look at her handwriting, it's just absolutely beautiful. To think that she can do that without any hands is very impressive.
The biggest thing that Anaya has taught our class is that there's no excuses. Anaya has learned that at an early age because of the struggle she has had and the obstacles. She's learned, I can't do this yet, but I can figure out a way to do it, or to come very close to doing it.
And how does Anaya feel about taking home an even bigger trophy this year?
Proud.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
She should be proud indeed. Her handwriting is better than mine. Pat?
Well, it's sure a whole lot better than mine. It's got, so I've got to get somebody to write the checks for me. It's really bad.
Hopefully she can become a doctor and have good handwriting.
Great. You can't ever read what the doctors pride themselves on being illegible. Isn't that marvelous, though?
So incredible.
But, you know, with all these iPads and the stuff, the kids, all they got to do is punch buttons. They aren't learning spelling, and they certainly aren't learning cursive writing. They used to be, they had those, long tablets with the big spaces, and they taught people to write cursive and everything. Yeah. Now, it's not there, but that girl with no hands, I mean, that was the national competition, folks. Whew.
God's got a great plan for her.
There's no excuse for any of us.
Amen. I need to work on my writing. Well, up next, how to start a riot on a college campus. Step 1, have someone say something conservative, and there is no need for a step 2.
Somebody pulled my hair and body slammed me. I suffered a concussion and whiplash.
So how can speakers make their voices heard when they're surrounded by snowflakes? CBN News has the report next.
You are watching today's edition of the 700 Club. We are so glad to have you with us, and we thank you for giving us a little bit of your time to share these moments together. Well, historically, college campuses have been safe places for free speech. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to have debates. They're supposed to have discussions. They're supposed to challenge each other's beliefs so that they can arrive at an understanding and that their reasoning powers can grow. But today, many of these so-called homes of higher learning are bowing to censorship of the most pernicious kind. It's called political correctness, and it's horrible. Well, as Paul Strahan reports, that culture shift is generating a revolution among college students and their allies.
Free speech is under assault because of a
Free speech advocates warn the growing move to shut down certain speakers and opinions on college campuses threatens First Amendment rights. Berkeley was ripped up by rioters who didn't want a conservative commentator for Breitbart News to speak on campus. Angry students at Vermont's Middlebury campus shouted down and turned their backs on controversial author Charles Murray, who some label a racist. Then Middlebury professor Allison Stanger was assaulted as she helped Murray push through a student mob.
Somebody pulled my hair and body slammed me in the opposite direction. I suffered a concussion and whiplash.
Fury broke out again at Berkeley, but didn't stop conservative firebrand Ben Shapiro from speaking there. He told CBN News,
that there's an enormous group of people on the left who now identify verbiage with violence. They identify words with violence. If I don't like something that you say and I have an emotional reaction to it and it causes me stress and I have a physical reaction, well, that's you actually doing harm to me. And now I am justified in using physical violence in order to prevent you from doing further harm to me. This is really dangerous stuff.
Here at Washington, D.C.'s Georgetown University, some students were protesting that Attorney General Jeff Sessions was allowed to speak. His topic, ironically enough, attacks on free speech at U.S. campuses.
Was that not targeting people of color?
I'm sorry. Students at Washington's Evergreen State College basically forced Professor Brett Weinstein to resign when he wouldn't endorse a day of no whites on campus and then refused to apologize. Now the schools themselves are buying into the trend.
Here, dreams are in need of your voice. Fragile ideas await your...
This promotional video from the University of Michigan makes it sound like a welcoming, open institution. But an incredibly vague speech code and roving bias response teams intimidate students who worry they'll be punished if their words are judged to be politically incorrect.
They're afraid to talk about politics, so they go in their dorm room and they lock their door. You need to tailor your speech to what the most sensitive student on campus might interpret your words as.
Nikki Neely's group, Speech First, is suing the university for extreme actions like punishing the marching band when various sections dress like different kinds of music.
One section wore baggy shirts and backwards hats and baggy shorts, and they were rap. Somebody walked by, they saw it, they filed a complaint, and the 400-person marching band had to go through several hours of cultural appropriation training.
Congress is also hearing about these extreme incidents.
Administrators at a community college forced an 8-year Navy veteran to stop distributing, now get this, pocket-sized U.S. constitutions.
As Oklahoma Wesleyan President Everett Piper put it on CBN 700 Club,
we actually are telling people, conservative speakers primarily, if you don't agree with us, if you're not one of us, if you're not a part of the fascist, the common bond of ideas, we will crush you, we will expel you, you're verboten, you're unwelcome.
Many colleges are limiting controversial talk to small free speech zones.
I mean, America is a free speech zone.
Students don't need a permit to speak on campus. The only permit they need is the First Amendment.
Neely feels young students need to be challenged and shaken up by opposing views.
College is not meant to be a safe space. College is meant to be a place for discourse, where you exchange ideas, where you pursue truth. It is not meant to be a place where you are coddled.
As Dr. Piper told his student body, this is not a daycare.
So we do need an aggressive defense on campus of the Enlightenment principle articulated by Voltaire. I disagree with everything you say, but I will defend with my life your right to say it.
Leading Christian philosopher Professor Robert George said much is at stake if colleges silence free speech.
American democracy and higher education both depend on freedom of thought and expression. People need to be free, people need to feel free to speak their minds.
Paul Strand, CBN News, Georgetown University.
Isn't it shocking? I mean, it's absolutely shocking that so-called bastions of free speech. You know, I'm head of a university that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, we've got 10,000 students or so, and I'm glad to see them. But the whole idea of freedom is there. I mean, you've got to have freedom. But what I see is our students are being taught to think critically, to express themselves, and to be Christian leaders to change the world. And as a result, we are going to beat these other guys every time they turn around because they will be so bound up with political correctness. I was at Yale, it's been 10 years or so ago, and there was a debate, and I was in a forum, and one of these guys was a tenured professor of law, and he started talking about George Washington and the American Revolution, and he misquoted Washington, misquoted everything he said, and I hate to take issue with the learned professor, but here's what Washington actually said, and I had the quotes. And here's what he said verbatim, bah, 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 bah. And that guy, you know, he had egg all over his face because he didn't know what he was talking about. But that's the kind of, this was a tenured professor who was holding a distinguished chair at Yale Law School.
You just think he didn't do his homework?
Their homework is, you know, anti-God, anti-Christian, anti-democracy.
Changing history, changing the quotes.
And so they're distorting history in order to conform to their point of view, which is what they want to do with the law. They want to change the Constitution to make it conform with current political thought. And right now we've got some judges who disagree with them. All right, Wendy, I've talked enough. Go on.
All right, well, coming up, want to look younger? Who doesn't? Stop searching for some fountain of youth and start listening to Suzy Cohen. America's Pharmacist reveals what can slow down the effects of aging. So don't go away.
Well, welcome back. We like to talk about how to make you young and how to make you look pretty and healthy and all the rest of it. And we have with us now America's Pharmacist, the outstanding pharmaceutical expert who knows about health and fitness. And she has just come up with something having to do with collagen. And Suzy Cohen is here, and it's just a joy to have you back. God bless you.
God bless you too, Pat.
Suzy, talk about collagen. It's under the skin. What is collagen? You want to talk to?
Absolutely. So collagen is the most abundant protein that we have in our whole body.
Yeah.
It keeps us together. Without collagen, we would just fall into a heap.
Yeah.
We'd just be one big lump of skin. So the collagen keeps our skin youthful. It makes our hair and our nails and our skin pretty. And it's the most abundant protein. And as we age, it declines. And also some of the things that we do will make it decline even faster. So we make collagen in our body. It's a natural protein. So if we expose ourselves to sunlight, or if we smoke, or we eat a lot of sugar or junk food, our natural production of collagen goes down. And of course, as we age, it goes down as well.
So that wrinkled look, that, kind of aged, sagging look, that's lack of collagen.
Yes, the signs of wisdom and aging. But at the end of the day, we all want to feel younger and fresher and shiny, new again, So collagen can help you do that.
Well, now you've come up with something that you're putting out, and here's a little card that talks about it.
Yes.
But there it is.
That's it. This is my newest product. Today's the worldwide launch. I'm really excited. This has been in the making for almost 2 years.
Oh,
and
boy.
Basically, it's every woman's dream come true.
Collagen beauty, okay.
So it's this pink powder right here, and it's pink because I put Nordic Cherry's brand of tart cherry extract. And tart cherry extract is known as a powerful antioxidant, and our skin loves antioxidants. It helps delay the signs of aging. And the key ingredient in collagen beauty powder is actually a brand of Verisol bioactive collagen peptides. It's attached to this riser, but look, it's a mirror.
Oh, you can look at yourself.
Yeah, you can see yourself.
All right,
See yourself getting younger.
All right, now, this little stuff here is called Collagen Beauty, and
It's a little scoop.
A little scoop of it. You mix it with what? Juice?
You can mix it with anything, with water. So I have it mocked up here.
All right.
So I can show you how small amount you need to take if you want to actually look at it. It's not much. A lot of collagen products, you have to take like a bucket full. It's just a little scoop. It's a little more than a teaspoon.
All right, now.
And you mix it in water, which we could do.
Let's say there's a 45-year-old woman watching this program right now, and she says, I'm starting to lose it a little bit in my face, and she doesn't want to get plastic surgery, so what does she do with your stuff, and how long will it take?
That's a great question, because that's pretty much what a lot of women are doing. We spend a ton of money on serums and creams and moisturizers and all kinds of things that delay the signs of aging. All she would do is mix a scoop of the collagen beauty powder in some water or coffee or tea or oatmeal. You can cook with it. You can put it in batter. You can scramble it up in an egg. Take it once a day. And clinical studies have been done on the active ingredient in here, which is a bioactive collagen peptide that's different than all the other peptides of collagen out there, because it's small and tiny and it gets into the dermal layer. So clinical studies show that after 4 weeks, it helps reduce the signs of eye wrinkles. And this is kind of cool. If you think about it, your skin is head to toe, right? So it's not just about a facial effect. It can help with firmness and suppleness and smoothing from the inside out, from head to toe.
Talk about atherosclerosis. It's the hardening of the arteries because of your lack of collagen.
Exactly. So collagen would be excellent supplement to try here, and replenishing and restoring.
So that would lower blood pressure.
Well, there isn't a direct study to show collagen lowers blood pressure, but if you can keep things more elastic,
Yeah, sure.
like your arteries, then sure, that's going to keep things more flexible inside and out.
Okay.
It used to be where we had to choose, to look good or to feel good, and now you don't have to choose.
Okay.
Collagen works head to toe.
What do you think about Botox? Women are getting this Botox stuff. It's a poison. It's really bad, but they get injected with that. It deadens them.
They actually use Botox for migraines, so they'll shoot it around the head.
Yeah.
So I'm not anti-Botox, but I think that, for the natural look, people want to look more youthful. Some people don't want to do injections, or they don't want to do the Juvederm, the Restylane, the Botox. They just want to try something natural through diet or through supplements.
Well, now, if you got bags under your eyes, well, this...
I recommend an ice cube.
An ice cube?
Take an ice cube, put it in a Kleenex, and put it under there. Right. If it's really puffy and it's chronic, that could be a sign of thyroid disease.
Okay.
Yeah, but regular bags under your eyes from not sleeping.
Anything, this sounds like a wonder powder, but what else should they do along with it?
What else does collagen do?
What else did you do to add to this
this
miracle
line
powder?
up here, this is another product that I have that contains collagen. Collagen is a huge buzzword because we're discovering now with new research that it helps support all kinds of things, ligament health, tendon health, and even the joints, and build up that squishiness between the cartilage, between the bones, so to build up the cartilage.
So I lift weights. Does that have to do, I've got meniscus, I've got all these various things. So I'm pushing weight. Does this collagen have anything to do with that?
Yes, you would want to, I would recommend the Joint Scripters, some supplement that contains some kind of collagen for you, because it supports tendon and ligament health, and that's important to you. How much are you bench pressing?
Well, I used to do a whole lot. When I was doing my legs, I used to warm up at 500 pounds, and I'd go up to about 30 reps of 1,000 pounds with my legs. But as far as bench pressing, it's not very much these days.
Well, it was still impressive. Don't scare us again like you did in February.
Yeah.
So this is collagen here, and this is curcumin, which would help with bursitis or tendon.
Curcumin is wonderful for pain, isn't it?
Right? It's a powerful anti-inflammatory. It suppresses a chemical pathway in our body called nuclear factor kappa B. We abbreviate it as NF-kappa B. Mm-hmm. And that pathway spawns painful cytokines and inflammatory chemicals. Well, curcumin comes along and just swats that down, calms it down, and that's how it helps to relieve pain. So curcumin is amazing, and some curcumin brands are better than others. And the one that's shown here is actually 3 different kinds of curcuminoids, which is different than regular curcumin that you might see at the health food store.
Well, that's turmeric is the other name of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Curcumin is one of the components of turmeric, which is a spice that's found in curry and a lot of
right.
Indians.
So the Indians eat a lot of curry.
Yeah.
But okay.
Exactly.
Now, you've got that, and what else have you got here? This is catalase.
This is catalase. So
what is that?
Catalase is important because it helps suppress I should say it suppresses peroxide, and it promotes the flowing of a cycle in our body that is a powerful antioxidant. So catalase will help break down peroxide, which is shown as H2O2. Mm-hmm. And we use the catalase enzyme naturally from our liver to turn that into 2 important things, water and oxygen. Mm-hmm. So again, as we age, our levels of catalase go down, and then we can't break down peroxide, and that, makes us feel gray and gloomy.
It looks like the thing that everybody's talking about is inflammation, that inflammation is the source of so many of the diseases we have. Now, these products, how do they touch inflammation?
In many ways. So one of the things, frankincense, I didn't mention right here.
Yeah,
frankincense is, its other name is boswellia. It's a powerful anti-inflammatory. It works a little bit like the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. It's a 5-LOX inhibitor. So it dampens, I know these are big words, but our audience is very savvy and they're smart.
Sure.
And it dampens down inflammatory pathways in the body. And that's
boswellia does that.
Boswellia, or frankincense is its other word. Curcumin does the same thing. And then collagen comes in to support and run damage control. Our collagen factory stops producing collagen as we age, and also if we take certain medicines or eat junk food, or it's naturally going down, and you can see that in the mirror. Every time you look in the mirror, you see yourself getting a little.
You've got a mirror just for that. It goes along with everything.
No, it's just beautiful. And there's a mirror on the lid of the collagen.
So you can look at yourself and see your wrinkles going away.
Yeah.
Now,
how fun is that?
Are we talking about these things do away with wrinkles? They alleviate wrinkles? Are they just something else?
Well, you might think it's the next best fad, but at the end of the day, we make collagen. We have our own collagen factory, and certain antioxidants and vitamins, especially vitamin A, C, and E, are helpful to drive those pathways and to fight the free radicals that happen in the dermal layer. And collagen is useful for the tendons, the ligaments, and the skin. And after a period of a few weeks, you can see differences. Literally, it's that fast.
You know, I've got some joints in my shoulders, and there's a pad in between that you'd call a meniscus, and that seems to want to go away when you get a little older. Is this stuff any good for that?
It's like a magical disappearing.
That's right.
It's happening to me too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, you're too young for that.
No, I get up and it's like, oh, are those my knees? You know? And the Zumba moves aren't quite as sexy as they used to be. So, no, I know what you're saying. Well, and I'm 53 and I've been in this industry for 30 years, and I almost 30, and I would say that some supplements make a difference and some are just a waste of money. You just really have to focus on the thing that is most useful to you. And a lot of people here today, you know, maybe they feel beautiful enough and fresh enough, but maybe their joints are creaky, their knees are hurting, they're starting to feel it in their shoulders. So they might need something geared to that. Maybe it's their brain and their cognitive function and thinking, they may need something for that. I'm not one of these pharmacists that believe in a pill for every ill. I like to think outside the pill. And I also don't think that, you know, taking supplements is necessarily right for everyone, especially the multivitamins. It's one of the biggest scams, in my opinion.
Multivitamins are?
Some of them.
What?
Some of them, if you turn the label over, there's like next to nothing on the, and they're using synthetic fake ingredients that don't even really work until your body puts them through a huge long cycle with various steps, and there's 1 milligram of like.
Yeah, you wrote a book called Vitamin Muggers. You were talking about the thing that these statins, they are advertised to the hilt. Everybody's talking, you know, you remember that thing, I trust my heart to Lipitor? I mean, it's such a fraud.
Well, you're referring to my book, Drug Muggers, which talked about the drug nutrient depletion. So every medication that a person takes suppresses a nutrient in the body, and that's a huge secret, and it's the cause for side effects. So with the statins, we now know that it's not just CoQ10 it's depleting, and by the way, CoQ10 is important for your brain and your heart. It's also selenium and vitamin D. So if you take a statin, you want to restore those nutrients as well.
Well, now,
otherwise, you get these side effects, and you suddenly have hypothyroidism, and you're losing your memory, and you're developing maybe cardiac palpitations. It's due to the nutrient depletion of these missing vitamins that the drugs are stealing.
I have been exposed to some of the NSAIDs, and they eat your stomach out, don't they?
Yes, that's a secret we should crack wide open right now, because there's a lot of older people who are supported on non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. I even have one in my purse. So these medications are powerful in terms of what they do, and they can be extraordinarily helpful. Things like ibuprofen and naproxen and things like that. They're extraordinarily useful. Again, I have them in my purse. But in an older person who might have esophageal problems or reflux or some kind of stomach problem or intestinal problem, they can, you know, hurt that delicate, fragile mucosal lining. And in some people, it can lead to ulceration and bleeding. And in the elderly, it's particularly more profound. You don't see that in a younger person quite as much. So take them with food. Take them at the lowest effective dose, take them only if you need them, and look to natural supplements that suppress inflammation, things like the curcumin or the frankincense or boswellia.
That doesn't have that effect at all.
No, that won't hurt you. On the contrary, these are God's plants.
Okay.
This is God's medicine. So they don't carry that side effect profile that a synthetic medication would have.
If somebody is over 60, they take Advil. I mean, they're all the same, really. I mean, it's a name for the same stuff. It's all ibuprofen. But if they're taking those things on a regular basis, there's a chance that they might have a serious problem with their stomach lining or the mucosa.
You just never know.
You never know.
It's with any medication. We can pick out 100,000 names of any medication, so I don't want to pick out on just one.
All right.
But any medication has the potential to cause a side effect, and it's generally through the drug nutrient depletion, and it's all covered in the book that I wrote, Drug Muggers, so that people can understand it. If they're taking a list of medications, then they might want to refer to that book.
All right.
As a general rule, the acid blockers, which alter the pH.
Yes.
They raise the pH in the gut because they're blocking acid. Those are probably the biggest drug muggers in the world in terms of what they do. They knock out almost every vitamin and mineral and probiotics that you make or could absorb from your food.
It's
the biggest steal of all time, or the acid blocker. So if you take one of those, take it for a short amount of time.
Name a couple of them.
Things like Nexium and Prevacid and Prilosec. Again, people need them because they're hurting and they might have a bleeding ulcer. So I don't want to take the medicine away.
The nutrients.
They knock out the nutrients. So when you take the medication, you want to marry it with the nutrient and minerals that it's stealing.
Okay.
So in the case of acid blockers, if you're taking them, you would want to take a trace mineral supplement or a greens drink, which is high in minerals, and a probiotic and a B complex. And that will keep you safe. Then you can take your medicine and have your nutrients, have your cake and eat it too.
Suzy, you've got a book about this new device, but the book is what?
So the book that everyone gets today, no purchase is necessary. I mean, people can shop where they want. Although I love that they support me, because at the end of the day, this is basically me in a bottle.
Sure. Okay.
I don't do like other people where they, slap a label on a product and pretend it's theirs. These are literally mine. Everybody gets Medicinal Herbs from the Bible.
Okay.
It's an ebook that I wrote. It's free at suzycohen.com/700. And I believe the information is held at cbn.com as well.
This material is sold where?
It's all it's suzycohen.com/700. Everybody gets a discount and a free ebook, Medicinal Herbs from the Bible, which talks about frankincense and black cumin and garlic and aloe and all the herbs from the Bible.
Sounds marvelous. Suzy, I wish we had more to talk about. I know you've touched to so many people who are listening right now. They say, wow, I've got to get hold of Suzy to find out what I'm doing wrong.
It's an absolute blessing to be with you and to have my health message spread around the world. So it's an honor. Thank you so much.
Well, God bless you. Suzy Cohen, America's pharmacist, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Wendy, now you know how to keep healthy, young, and beautiful.
Pat, I'm going to come over there and drink that collagen on the table if you're not going to drink it. So, Suzy, save it for me. Well, still to come, we've got your email. RC asks, if a man looks at pornography and confesses it to be true, is this grounds for divorce? Get ready for another round of your questions and honest answers when we come back. Welcome back to the 700 Club. It's time for your questions and some honest answers from Pat. We're going to start with this one from RC. He says, Matthew 5:28 NIV says, but I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. I believe this is to be the definition for adultery. So if a man looks at pornography and he confesses it to be true, would this be grounds for a wife to divorce him in the eyes of the church?
God hates divorce, and I hate divorce, what it does to women, what it does to children, what it does to men. And so the guy's looking at porn. The wife shouldn't be looking for an excuse to divorce him. And I don't think I want to say, but, remember Jimmy Carter, who people made fun of him, said, I've committed adultery with my eyes. I looked at a woman lustfully. And everybody just laughed. Isn't that silly? Well, that's what the Bible says. If you look after and you committed it in your mind. Is that ground for divorce? Not really. I don't think so. I just don't think so. But I do think habitual looking at pornography is, the man is separating from his wife, and his wife is now second place to some bimbo who's, been enhanced surgically, and, she's doing all this stuff, and it's pornography. That will corrupt a marriage, and I think, is that a ground for divorce? I think habitual use, and he won't give it up. The answer is yes.
Amen. Good answer, Pat. All right, this viewer says, I went to my church to ask for help with plumbing issues I was having but couldn't afford to fix. Instead of helping me, they turned me into the state for having inadequate plumbing for my sister who is developmentally disabled. I had to sell my home that I'd had for 25 years. This has made me very skeptical of church and the Christian faith. Any advice?
You picked the wrong church, darling. I'm telling you, that is awful. I can't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a plumbing problem and the church turns you into the state? I mean, they are not an arm of the state. They're not. We're not supposed to have a society where we spy on one another and then turn ourselves over to the authorities. Have I got any advice? It's too late to fix that one, but I sure would go to a different church. That's awful.
It really is sad.
Yeah.
We don't know all the details, but I can't imagine a church doing that.
All right.
All right, Bill says, I've been reading in Matthew about what Jesus says about God's law. Does God require true Christians to keep the 10 Commandments?
There's some law in the 10 Commandments, if you understand them properly, that has to do with the possession we have of being secure in your possessions, being secure in your reputation, and being free from useless lawsuits. There are some wonderful principles to follow. I mean, do you have to keep them? You'll be miserable if you don't. And they really are for the protection of people. You read them from the standpoint of somebody who's being violated, and they can't, take away your wife, take away your family, take away your possessions or your reputation. It's a wonderful thing. Well, I leave you from today's Power Minute from 1 Peter. Above all, love each other, because love covers a multitude of sins. Well, for Wendy and all of us, this is Pat Robertson. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll be back tomorrow. See you then. Bye-bye.